What it do? What the business is? It's your boy Rodney, joined by my boy Kaza Sose to the bottom, and then to my top left-hand corner, Jamal, the angry black fan, Granddaddy Darby. How you doing? How you guys doing today?
Well, I got to be a granddaddy, man. I'm only 35 years old, man. What's going on, man?
Shit, 35 plus what?
Don't worry about it. I carried the one.
How you doing today?
I'm 62 because I got 5 kids. So, or child.
Yeah.
Hey man, it sounds like you're broke.
That too. Yep.
You got some broke best friends over there.
Yeah.
But yesterday the Panthers lost 16-24 to the Green Bay Packers. And I have some news for you guys. We've been officially eliminated from playoff contention.
Oh, darn. Man, what a shock.
Man, so if the draft was held today, we would pick 4th in the draft behind the Jets, Jaguars, and the Bengals. So, guys, I'm going to start off with Kaiser. Give me your thoughts for the game yesterday.
I'm just going to get right to the elephant in the room. The Matt Rule, Teddy Bridgewater era is over. It is done after this season.
Wow, that's a hot take to start out with, brother.
Yeah, no, man. The Panthers are going to draft a quarterback. So here's the thing. We know Trevor Lawrence is off the table because 2 of the teams ahead of us need QBs. We know the Jets do, and the Jaguars probably do as well. Cincinnati will probably pick an offensive lineman for Joe Burrow, and that leaves us with probably Justin Fields from Ohio State is probably who the Panthers are going to look very, very heavy at. If that's the case, I just don't see Teddy I mean, he'll be on the team because we signed him for 3 years, but never, I'm not going to say never, but it is odd to see a quarterback and a new head coach at odds every week. The report that came out after the game yesterday was that Teddy Bridgewater changed the call at the line of scrimmage on the quarterback sneak that led to the fumble. Now, Matt Rule did call or Joe Brady called a quarterback sneak, but he specifically told Teddy to not reach the ball over the goal line because it wasn't 4th down. And Teddy reaches the ball over the goal line, and we all know what happened. And, Teddy took full responsibility for that. But then Matt Rule came out and said, we discussed this before the game.
Wow.
Do not reach the ball over the goal line unless it's 4th down. The thing is, this every week, Matt Rule will say, I don't know why Teddy did that. I don't know why Teddy threw it 2 yards when DJ Moore was open on a slant. I don't know. When you have that week after week, it's just not going to work out. They're not on the same page. And I understand. I'm actually be kind of nice to Teddy. It's not all his fault. Sometimes the play calling isn't there, and he's got to work with, he's got to work with what he's got to work with. But this leads me to believe, and this is, of course, pure speculation. We don't have any sources that say this, but it leads me to believe that maybe Cam was Matt Rule's guy and Tepper didn't want Cam or he didn't want Cam because remember Matt Rule came out and said he was ready to go with Cam Newton. He was happy to work with Cam Newton, and then bam, Cam Newton gets released and Teddy Bridgewater comes into the fold. I'm not saying that, Matt to me, Matt Rule is too new to make a comment that toes the company line. Like, yeah, we're all in on Cam Newton. I think he really was all in on Cam Newton. He's probably excited. Hey, okay, I get to come into a new team, but I got a guy like Cam Newton. And I think Tepper, looking at the money, Cam's injury history, all the things we talked about in the offseason, probably said, you know what, Bridgewater's a guy. And then Matt Rule's probably on board with that. Okay, Teddy, he's worked with Joe Brady in New Orleans, he was on board. But week after week, the Panthers are in position to win or at least tie these games, and they don't, and it's always Teddy's fault according to Matt Rule. That's not good. Justin Fields is going to be on the board at 4 probably. The Panthers will probably draft him in 2 gloves. Going to have to ride the pines.
All right, Jamal, what do you think?
What if I told you that Aaron Rodgers only threw for 143 yards and got sacked 5 times, and the Panthers still lost the game? Kaz is down there making the Mike's Lemonade squinch face, and that pretty much sums up how I feel about this game. I find it interesting how in the first half, the defense was everything that I honestly expected. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers pretty much just marched down the field and scored whenever they wanted to. 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns, no punts. It was just going exactly the way that I thought it would go. And interestingly enough, as the stats show, it wasn't the passing game. It was, Aaron Jones was killing us in the first half. We couldn't stop the run. And we waited too late to get the defense together. And, before the show started, I actually said this I mentioned this with Kaz, and there was an interesting nugget during the telecast. And one of the announcers said he talked to Phil Snow, and Phil Snow pretty much alluded to the fact that he doesn't know the identity of the Panthers defense. So I'm thinking to myself, like, yo, homie, we in week 13. Like, how do we not know the identity of the defense by now? I get that we had a short season. Yes.
I was about to push back. I'm like, does not having a full off season and even the preseason kind of affect the identity of the team in defense per se?
Well, here's the thing, man. I am not in the NFL. I am obviously not in the circle. But here's what I think. I think once you have your staff together, once Matt Rule selected who he wants to ride with him as far as coaching goes, don't you think that's one of the first things you talk about? It could be me. I'm not in the league. I don't know. But that's just me. If I'm Matt Rule, that's one of the first things you roll with. Who do we want to be? What with the personnel that we have, who should we be? But I don't want to belabor that point because there's other things I want to get to with this game. And as far as that goes, now, coincidentally enough, the defense looked like a different defense in the second half. Brian Burns is still amazing. Jeremy Chin is still amazing. We got pressure on Aaron Rodgers. We start containing the run. The defense played well enough to win us the game in the second half, but we still couldn't get it done. And there's a reason why, but I am not going to get to that point just yet.
Newsflash. Derek Brown flashed yesterday. He had 2 sacks.
Under construction, I hate to brag, because we can't be right all the time. But we're right all the time. And
damn it, give us our props.
We said weeks ago the defense was not the problem with this team, and they were the unit that was showing promise. You could see it early in the season, and we said the offense would be the issue. Everyone called us crazy, called me a hater because Teddy Bridgewater throws 2.8 yards per pass. That's a fact. I didn't make that up. That was real life. So now it's obvious now to the fans. If you saw the game last night and you saw the game last week, the defense is coming on. And for Phil Snow to make that comment is odd because we can see it. We know who the guys are on the defense. We see what should be done. How Phil Snow misses it is beyond me.
I was going to say, man, that's what I just completely don't understand. If we're from the outside looking in, if we can see it, then how come professionals don't? That's all I'm saying, brother.
So guys, I have some stats to read to you. Through 13 games in Carolina last year, Kyle Allen threw for 3,322 yards, 17 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 19 touchdowns in total. Bridgewater, through 13 games, has thrown for 3,360 yards, 14 passing touchdowns, 5 rushing touchdowns, and 19 in total. I got the stats from Big Cheese from Twitter, and he said essentially we paid $63 million for Black Kyle Allen. I've seen a lot of pushback that our main problem is offensive line play. Does Teddy Bridgewater receive too much criticism, or just enough, or should we start to focus more on the offensive line?
Let me take this one first, man. Those stats are very telling, but they also don't tell the whole story. Y'all know I say that a lot. In Teddy's defense, one stat that was left out of those set of stats is turnovers. Mm-hmm. Kyle Allen, Kyle Allen was a turnover machine. Okay. That was the main criticism of Kyle Allen. He would throw the ball accurately. At times, the offense would move with him, but you always had to worry about when the next fumble or interception was going to occur. Now, when it comes to the offensive line, it's a broken record. This offensive line has been a problem since Cam Newton was our quarterback. So I don't know if that's really a valid excuse. It is what it is, man. It's something that has not been properly addressed in at least 4 or 5 seasons, man. And whoever the quarterback is, I guess they just have to kind of roll with it, because it's nothing that has been done about upgrading the offensive line. But I will say this, overall, Teddy Bridgewater, he's nothing but a slight upgrade, and that's what the stats show.
Kaiser?
The offensive line for every team is usually a scapegoat if your offense is playing bad and you want to defend your quarterback. A lot of people are like, well, Trevor Lawrence would be running for his life behind this offensive line. And that may be so. The Panthers' offensive line has only been great one season out of the past 10. And really, that was probably more of Cam Newton than anything else. Although Trey Turner had a great season that year, and we had Jordan.
And then we traded him away for a box of Krispy Kreme donuts. But go ahead.
So,
get to that later.
We have Matt Khalil and Jordan Gross. We had a solid offensive line for like 2 seasons out of the last 10. But the Panthers' offensive line isn't that bad, at least not from a statistical standpoint. And also, Teddy Bridgewater does not hold on to the ball that long. He gets rid of the ball early, and that is not because of offensive line pressure. That's just who he is. He's got about to have 2,000-yard receivers. He's got a high completion percentage, although we've talked about what a deceiving stat that can be. I'm not buying that the offensive line is the issue for the offensive woe. That's not the reason they cannot score in the red zone. That's not the reason. The offensive line is not calling 3 timeouts a quarter so that we have none at the end of the game. That's not what's happening. The offensive line isn't getting. How many delay games have we seen Teddy Bridgewater do?
Quite a few.
3 weeks. And the offensive line is set. Teddy either can't get the play in or some. I'm not buying it. The Panthers shoot themselves in the foot with mistakes, and that is not all the offensive line. Sure, it's one of the areas we need to shore up, but I'm not buying it.
So let me ask you guys a question. So, say for instance, the Panthers with the 4th pick draft the left tackle first in the top 5. So they decided that Teddy is the guy next year as well, and we bridge him out afterwards. How would you feel if they drafted a left tackle?
Well, I think investing in the left tackle, whether it be through the draft or free agency, investing in the offensive line is never the sexy or the popular thing, but sometimes it may be the right thing. Now, it depends on who we're talking about here. Now, I'm probably going to screw up this young man's name, but there's a young man by the name of, I think it's Pernell Sewell or something like that out of Oregon. He looks to be every bit worth a high draft pick. He's projected to be like the number 2 pick in the draft. So if it's something like that, I'm kind of for it, because he just may be worth it. But, there's other needs on this team, man. I just think, in investing in other positions, mainly linebacker, because I really want Micah Parsons out of Penn State. It's something to think about. It's something that management is going to have to really prioritize in the offseason.
Yeah, you only draft an offensive lineman high in the draft if you already have a franchise quarterback. If you've got your guy, or you think you might get your guy the next season, then you build an offensive line around him. Teddy is not our guy. So, we have a chance to get a guy like Justin Fields, who may or may not be the guy, but, a lot of experts feel like he's going to be a good NFL quarterback, and this may be our chance to start over anew with a fresh new quarterback. If you draft a high-pick left tackle, that's great, but I don't think that's going to magically make Teddy Bridgewater in the offense any better. A single left tackle is not going to be the answer to all the Panthers' offensive woes. And I think it would be a waste this particular draft. If we had Trevor Lawrence and then we missed the playoffs and had a high draft pick next year, okay, yeah, then you might get an offensive lineman. But this season, especially when there's so many other areas we need, I'd be kind of disappointed in that.
Okay, guys. So we got 2 or 3 games left. What should be the Panthers' plan going in these last 2 or 3 games?
I'm laughing, man, because the way that question is worded, fans are automatically gonna be like, lose, tank, don't mess up the draft position. But these are professionals, man. You're not gonna walk into a locker room and tell a professional team to just lose games on purpose. So with that being said, man, it's just the last 2 or 3 games we have, man. Just be professionals. That's it. And look, we're in a different situation than we were maybe, let's say, 2 seasons ago when you had experienced vets who were on their way out. Because in that situation, you got guys like Greg Olsen and other vets who had one foot out the door anyway. You know what I'm saying? And you could see that they were not into the last couple of games of the season. But you have a different culture here now. You have young guys. You got to set that tone. Even though we're out of playoff contention and there's nothing to play for, you can't go out there and just hot dog it, man. Just especially for these young kids. So my whole thing is you got to maintain professionalism and go out there and still try to win these last 2 games.
Yeah, I like to see teams with losing seasons play with some pride at the end.
You got you.
That goes for a lot. It sets the culture of winning. That's what Matt Rule. That's his first thing, and I think that's what he wants to do. Okay, let's get back to a culture of winning. Having said that, we know who the key players are. Sit those guys. Brian Burns shouldn't play another snap the rest of the season.
Especially with his new injury. Yeah.
The reports that he just tweaked his MCL. Hey, that's all I need to hear. Okay,
you took his ass on the bench for the last 2 or 3 games.
Exactly. CMC.
Nope, don't need to play.
He's done. I might would play Chin just to ensure that he gets those Defensive Rookie of the Year votes because he deserves those. Same with Derek Brown. They need those reps. But all your key players, sit those guys. As far as Teddy, Darren in the chat said, should we bench him for the last 2 games? He's a pro. Let him finish out. We're paying all this money for him, although none of us would be upset if P.J. Walker trotted out onto the field. But at the same time, we paying Teddy more than what Cam Newton asked for. Go out there and earn that paycheck, bro.
So guys, we're going to round out this Panthers thing. So who was your offensive and defensive MVPs from last night's game?
Kaiser, take this first.
I'll take Robbie Anderson. Defense. You can pick from a few people, but I'm going to say Derek Brown because this was probably his biggest splash game. Not Robbie. I meant to say DJ Moore. DJ Moore, 6 catches.
Yeah, because I'm looking at these stats like, buddy?
Yeah. DJ Moore had a great, incredible sideline catch. He's good for like one of those per game. And defensively, I like Derek Brown. He finally broke through, had a lot of pressures. Brian Burns is also a sexy pick. But anyone on the defensive line, I think you could – they really stepped up to sack Aaron Rodgers 5 times.
Yeah.
Especially this season. Green Bay has a really good offensive line. I think says a lot. And we talked about Derek Brown was almost there. He was getting that push. He was getting that push up the middle. And it was good to see him rewarded for his effort.
Yeah. Offensive MVP, I'm going with DJ Moore. 6 catches, 131. Probably the most productive offensive player last night. Defensive-wise, I'm also going to go with Derek Brown because, just like Kaiser said, man, Brian Burns is the sexy pick, but Derek Brown made Brian Burns' job a lot easier last night. I don't know if Brian Burns at least gets, one of those sacks without Derek Brown, man. So I'll go with him as the MVP.
So I'm going to say offense, DJ Moore. I mean, that's
self-explanatory, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna go a little different on defense. I'm gonna go Brian Burns. He helped this Pro Bowl case this past week. And then also, let me give a shout out to Jeremy Chin. He's the third ever Panthers rookie to reach 100 tackles in a season. Dude is a beast. He's balling. And guys, one more thing.
Real quick, man. I swear to God, if the national media, if they Devontae Graham, Jeremy Chin, somebody gonna get yanked up, bro. No way, dog.
Yeah. But I'll say the Panthers don't seem to be as cursed as the Hornets. When the Panthers have good players that are nationally recognized, they tend to be recognized. It's
no doubt.
Not like the Hornets. Also, side note, Brian Burns had 2 pass defenses last night as well. The guy is something special.
Yeah. Guys, I got one more question, man. What did you guys think on that long DJ Moore pass completion? We kicked the field goal on the first down. What was going through your head?
Okay. I understand the logic because you only have one timeout, so you're having clock issues, and your defense is playing really, really well. So the idea is that you hurry up and score before the 2-minute warning. So you get essentially a free timeout. That's a free clock stoppage. And if you stop Green Bay, you get the ball back with a chance to score because you need a touchdown anyway, right?
Yeah.
So you get the chance back to score a touchdown with one timeout left. And it almost worked. The problem is the offense couldn't get out of their own way. They end up taking a penalty. Now they're all the way back on like the 12-yard line or something like that. And now you got to drive 90 yards with one timeout. Whereas, you don't have that penalty, the plan might work. So I understand the rationale. The thing is that this is the NFL. You got to take the shot. You got to take the risk. You need a touchdown anyway. Like Chris said in the chat, at least take one shot at the end zone. Because if you score a touchdown and you get the 2-point conversion, okay, yeah, Green Bay is going to get the ball back with less than 2 minutes left, and you don't have any timeouts to stop them. But what is more likely that you kick a field goal to go down 8, and then you stop Green Bay and get the ball back with time left on the clock and a timeout, or you score a touchdown, Green Bay gets the ball with less than 2 minutes, and then by the time they punt it back to you, you're essentially in the same situation. I just feel like in the NFL, you go touchdown though.
I'll admit this much, man. When he first did that, I threw my hands up like, man, what the hell is this dude doing, man? But here's why coaches are pros, and we're sitting here talking about it because eventually it turned out to be the right decision. Now, keep in mind, Rule doesn't have to do that. If we're not unnecessarily burning timeouts like we have to do every single game in the second half, that needs to be said. However, I also think it was a situation where Rule said, you know what? Okay, this defense is playing a lot better the second half, and I think he trusted his defense, and it turned out to be a boss coaching move, and it was of no consequence. I'll put it like that. The only consequences was our quarterback couldn't put together a drive to ultimately win the game, which is kind of common these days. But but that decision didn't really cost us.
That's a great point, Jamal. It's one thing to have confidence in your defense because that's why Rule made the call. But then you have to have confidence in your offense. They've got to do their part. You've got to think, okay, so if this works, if we kick the field goal so that we essentially get 2 timeouts or two clock stoppages before getting the ball back, now what has to happen? Well, the offense has to score, and they hadn't been able to do that, for the most part, all night. I'm not. Sometimes NFL coaches outsmart themselves. I don't think that was completely the case with Matt Rule. I mean, like we said, it almost worked.
Yeah, so, no doubt.
All right, we're going to transition to something a little more exciting.
Yes, Buzz City.
Who would have thought
Buzz City?
The Buzz City would be the most exciting team in Charlotte.
LaMelo Ball, the best passer in Charlotte. Yeah.
So the Hornets finished their preseason on Saturday, 1-3. They lost to the Orlando Magic. So, what do you guys think about that game last night?
I tell you this, man. James Borrego, he's impressing me more every day. And here's what I mean by that. So usually in the preseason, now keep in mind we're in a different situation because of COVID crap, but
yeah,
usually in the preseason, if you get to the last game of the preseason, the veterans are going to be like, man, you know what? Let's just get to the regular season. We don't care about this. It doesn't count. And they were playing like that. They were clearly playing like that in the first half. James Borrego, I'm obviously not in the locker room, but you can clearly tell at halftime he got in their ass and said, I don't care if this is preseason. Your energy sucks. Your effort sucks. Go out here and fix it in the second half. And he did that. And we looked like a better team than the Orlando Magic. And that's important because we're probably going to be playing them for playoff position come this season. So
we'll get into that a little further later.
Right. But when you look at that, it's like, wow, man, like that is a pretty impressive coaching job, even for a meaningless preseason game, man. So I really just like the tone JB is setting for these guys right now, man.
Yeah, it was clear, and because we were able to watch the Orlando Magic feed, Coach Clifford said before the game, he talked about how the Hornets, how their pace was.
Right.
A lot of people think that the Hornets' problem last season was defense. It was not. The Hornets were like 14th in the league in defense, actually. Their offense sucked. We are dead last in the league, and mainly because our number of possessions per game was like the lowest in the league. So JB said, okay, we're going to make an effort to play with more energy. We're going to get out and we're going to run. And 3 out of the 4 preseason games, they scored 30-plus points in the first quarter and then 27 in the game that they didn't. But Orlando came out with a clear plan to stop that. They know that the Hornets do not crash the boards because we like to get out and run. They took advantage of that. A lot of people were complaining about Zeller's lack of rebounding, but if you look, a lot of times it was just him under the basket and like 5 Orlando Magic.
Right.
We were getting back on the other end, and there was going to be no one to rebound. So the Magic, Coach Clifford made a big adjustment from the game earlier in the week to last night, and it paid dividends in the first half. And then, like Jamal said, JB Smooth, that's my new nickname for him because
hey, he's smooth dude though.
Yeah, the rest of them,
cool,
like,
man,
cool. I don't know where he get his joint lined up, but he be looking smooth. But he made an adjustment during the half, and the Hornets come back from 20-something down to really win the game. The only reason
no doubt
is because Steve Clifford, he wanted a win that didn't mean anything so bad. When JB took everybody out, JB is like, all right, we good. Y'all can sit down. And then what does Coach Clifford do? He leaves Cole Anthony in the game. Now, we know Cole Anthony going.
He check.
Right, yeah. He leaves Cole Anthony in the game, and he wins the game. Also, whoever number 31 is for the Hornets, enjoy your time off.
Enjoy your time off, man. Hey, look, whoever number 31 is, you remember that shot Carlton took from Will in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when he threw it?
What are you doing?
Look.
I mean,
look. Number 31 was all guts, no glory, bro. He was like, "I'm shooting this, man."
I think he knew, and I think JB knew those guys were getting waived because they got waived last night. That's why he brought him in, like, "All right, y'all getting waived, so I'm gonna let y'all." And dude was like, "You know what? I'm getting waived. I'm just gonna go.
I'm shooting this thing."
30 seconds left. 25. It was like 23 seconds left in the possession.
I had Steven Jackson flashbacks, brother. I was like, this dude got some balls, bro.
I was like, thanks for losing the game.
All right, guys. So let's talk about LaMelo Ball, man. I've been noticing a lot. I mean, he hasn't been like lights out shooting, but these passes he's throwing are absolutely nuts and ridiculous. I mean, the exposure that the Hornets are getting is just out of this world. So, what do you guys think about the LaMelo Ball effect in Charlotte?
I haven't seen a player come into the league with such court awareness and people are gonna get on me for this, but it's true. Since LeBron James, look,
that's big
take.
But I mean, LaMelo knows where everybody is on the court at any given time, and a lot of people were like, "Well, the passes are just flashy." Some of those passes, he makes them flashy because he can, but some of those passes are passes you're not going to see pros make. That sequence where he ripped the ball from Cole Anthony, LaMelo can't play no defense. Now he just snatched the ball from Cole Anthony and then hits Malik Monk
in stride, man.
Oh my God. There are pros you will not see, seasoned pros that you will not see make that kind of pass. Once he develops a shot selection, because he doesn't have one. That's really his only main problem offensively. Either he's got to catch and shoot, or he's just got to take a random shot. He can't do that because you've got to work on those shots. So he needs to find his spots. These are your shot selections. Here's how you get to yours. Once he has that part of his game, oh man, I mean, it's going to be something special. As of right now, though, Terry Rozier had himself a little preseason, and him and Devontae should be starting. They should start, and I don't really see Melo cracking into the starting lineup this season. I hate to say it. Although him and Miles Bridges, they must be buddies or something. I mean, they go out for ice cream after the game or something. Look, man, at some point, you've got to have them on the same rotations. You have to.
Like, Miles released a tweet actually today saying that he's just feeling rejuvenated and the love of the game has come back to him. I mean, we can honestly see that he's pushing PJ for that starting time, for that starting four-man role.
Speaking of love for the game, and that's a good transition as far as the LaMelo effect. Mitch Kupchak spoke glowingly about LaMelo Ball's kind of love for basketball. And if you notice LaMelo during the preseason, man, this dude, his energy just looks infectious. Yeah. And not only is his energy infectious, his court play is obviously infectious because of the type of point guard he is. Him and Miles Bridges, who have that insane chemistry right now, it's kind of like kismet. I don't know if Miles Bridges looks like he's out for blood this season so far. And you got a LaMelo Ball who's been highly touted as not only just a talent, but someone who loves the game like he does. It's just the perfect combination, man. And that's what we're seeing so far out of that. Now, as far as, the LaMelo effect and the exposure that the Hornets are getting, now for me, it's kind of a yin and a yang. Now, the yin is it's great for Hornets fans who been starving for relevance, and we want to be on TV. We want ESPN talking about us. We want fans to be interested. That part is awesome. No complaints there. But the yang to that is it's going to put LaMelo Ball under the spotlight. And the bad part about that is whenever he does any little thing bad, that first time he has a bad game, I told you should have drafted Cole Anthony, hint, hint, wink, wink. It's going to be things like that, man. So I'm excited about the positivity that's going to come with it. I don't know if I'm going to like for lack of a better term, pressure that it may put on LaMelo Ball. But I think overall, man, it is going to remain positive.
We talked about that real quick. We talked about that before the draft, that any player, not just LaMelo, but whoever the Hornets picked would be under immense pressure. Mm-hmm. And I think it's even more so with LaMelo Ball because he comes in with a little more hype than Wiseman and Edwards. I mean, they're already like, he's going to be Rookie of the Year. I'm like,
let's slow down a bit. Right.
Slow down a bit. But, yeah, I do like the attention. He's on SportsCenter highlight reels every night. The thing is, clearly he's got that it factor. Clearly,
yeah.
To be something special. So, yeah, I'm all – and I'd like to say Vince was the first on the LaMelo Ball bandwagon. I jumped on Vince coattails. The rest of y'all can come on.
Come on the bandwagon. Jump on the bandwagon. We're on now. Okay.
Hey, look. Hey, look, real quick, man. We already got one more person on the under construction bandwagon. CJ, we appreciate you, bro. You can jump on a LaMelo bandwagon next, brother. Appreciate it.
Guys, okay, so Wednesday night, we open the season versus the Cavaliers. what are your expectations for the Hornets this year? Do we do we actually compete for a playing game, or are we just lottery bound, exciting team?
Let me take this one first. I'm so glad you brought this up. I'm not going to answer your question first, man, because I want to address something really quick. Me and the national media, I swear, man, if I see some of these dudes in public, man, they might catch a fade, man. Somebody is going to have to make me fully understand how a team who was right outside of playoff position last season, albeit a very shortened season, I don't understand how some people are picking the Hornets, John Hollinger, to win 23 games. I understand that the Eastern Conference has gotten stronger. Please believe that. I know that Atlanta's gotten stronger. I know that Washington has gotten stronger. I perfectly realize that the teams around us have gotten better and it is more competitive. But just simple logic tells me that a team that won 20-something games in a short season last season, whose roster has clearly gotten better, can at least incrementally improve. That's the part I just don't understand. Now, to more directly answer your question, because of the Eastern Conference getting so much more competitive, I still believe we may be right on the outside looking in. Possibly it is going to be a fight. Let me be very clear about that. But I don't think we're going to be some scrub team that's going to win 23 games this season.
Yeah, I'll say it's always hard to put the preseason in context. But I'll say this, and I don't think anyone will disagree with me. In all 4 games, when our best players were on the court and the other team's best players were on the court,
we clearly won during that time.
Even against the Raptors, and I know that
even against Toronto.
Yeah, even I know they were playing without Kyle Lowry, who is probably their best player. But I was really shocked at how competitive our starting 5 was with Toronto's starting 5. And against Orlando, I felt like we were clearly the better team. If Gordon Hayward plays last night, we win that game. We would have won it if number 31 didn't want to be Steph Curry all of a sudden. So, the Hornets clearly have improved roster, and I think they're going to be competitive with anyone on the anyone that they play. It's gonna. We don't know the timetable for Gordon Hayward's return. Let me talk about that real quick because I know a lot of people, were freaking out about it.
Hey, but before you go there, Kaza, you know what? I don't understand why Michael Jordan didn't predict that Gordon Hayward was going to cut his pinky off. Why doesn't Michael Jordan predict the future and just think, why does Gordon Hayward break his finger? I'm sorry. I'm not going to do this today. Go ahead, Kaza.
It's one of those things where
I'm sorry.
Generally, as sports fans, we're not doctors, so when they list the injury, they have to be very specific about it. That's league rules. You can't just be like, oh, Gordon Hayward hurt his finger and he's going to miss 3-4 games. The league doesn't allow that. You have to say exactly what the injury is. So what an avulsion fracture is, it's not even really a break like we envision a fracture. And I know this because this is a common boxing injury. In fact, they call it a boxer's fracture. The tendons that connect your knuckles to your metatarsals or metacarpals
break.
The tendon actually connects to the bone takes a little bit of the bone off with it. So the tendon is really strong actually. So I guess Gordon Hayward has strong tendons, and it would because that's a shooting hand, and it just chips a little bit of the bone off. It is not a serious injury. At the most, he would miss, and this is worst case scenario, about 6 weeks. But it is unlikely that he misses that much time. In fact, I'd be surprised if they didn't just tape that thing up and he plays Wednesday and then they just see how it is. The fact that it's on his shooting hand is concerning. But people see avulsion fracture and they're like, oh my God. It's like,
yeah,
that is, dude. Just calm down.
And let me be clear. When I saw the word fracture, I freaked out. I'm not going to lie. I was like, oh God, he even broke his hand already. Right.
Yeah,
but
it does look bad on the surface, but this is essentially a jammed finger. How many basketball players have jammed fingers? Like I said,
right, no doubt.
Is that it's on a shooting hand. So
yeah.
if Gordon Hayward is healthy, I think the Hornets will be competing, like you said, between 7 in the playoff game I don't trust. First of all, we're better than the Knicks. We're probably better than the Magic. We're better than the Pistons. Russell Westbrook coming into the East kind of
makes Washington a threat.
Yeah. And depending on what James Harden does, that muddies the waters some. I don't trust Atlanta. At least I don't think Atlanta is better than the Hornets. They may be, but on paper, I don't think they're that much better. And a lot of analysts are like Atlanta's like the trendy hot pick because they have Trae Young. But when I look at our team, when I look at Terry Rozier scoring 25 points, Devontae Graham scoring 25 points, Gordon Hayward before his injury, he was buckets during the preseason. Miles Bridges looks like a man possessed, and then you got LaMelo Ball out there doing and one stuff. It's hard to not be excited about the Hornets.
No doubt.
I look, a lot of people have voiced this concern. PJ Washington looked like dog shit the whole preseason. Should we read into that much, or should we just let him figure this out?
Let me tell you something that was kind of telling for me. So after the game, James Borrego, it at least didn't sound like he was overly concerned. James Borrego had some very high praise for PJ Washington last night, not necessarily because of how he's playing during the preseason, but for what he thinks of him going forward. I'm not quoting exactly here, but James Borrego said something to the effect of, I trust that PJ Washington can still be special this season. He didn't talk much about how he was performing right now. It just didn't sound like to me that, number one, he was going to make any changes to the starting lineup. You even saw in last night's game, PJ Washington stunk for 3.5 quarters. But Borrego, he didn't cut his time. He didn't bench him. He stayed with him for most of the game. And as the game went along, PJ at least looked a little better, in the fourth quarter. He had a big dunk. He was still out there defending pretty well, man. So with that being said, if Borrego trusts him, I trust him. It's simple as that, man. And we can just go. We can just hope going forward. This is just a slump to start the season, and he'll be better going forward.
Gotcha.
Yeah, y'all know PJ's my guy. I've been high on PJ, since all last season. He looked off, but the effort was there. A lot of times players know they're off. They just kind of like resign to their fate. He didn't do that. He's still out there shooting. He's still out there hustling. He just, the ball wasn't falling through the hoop. Also, he spent some time during the preseason at the 5. That's a hard transition to make. A small ball team, and now suddenly, your spots are different because you're not used to being that deep into the paint, waiting for passes and whatnot. That's an adjustment, and I expect Borrego to move away from that experiment. And we kind of saw, in life, we saw more is than small ball.
Let me cut you off real quick, man. It's interesting you said Borrego may move away from that, because Rick Bonnell asked JB basically how's small ball going, and Borrego's answer left a lot to be desired. He was just kind of like, I'm going to watch the film.
You play your cards on the table, but I don't think that's going to work as well as JB would like it to, and that's okay.
And that's fine, yeah.
You just make the adjustment, and I think the coaching staff is probably pleasantly surprised, or they may not be. This may be all part of the plan, but you got to look at the Hornets in the way that they played during the preseason. You just look at the energy and the effort. I mean, I thought about this last night. I'd said in the chat, in the game chat, Miles Bridges should start, but now I'm not so sure, and I'll tell you why. If you have this good chemistry on the second unit with Ball, Monk, Bridges, and Caleb Martin,
and how's that a bad thing?
Yeah, why would you mess that up? Just swap PJ and Miles. I think the rotations that we saw, the main 10-man rotation that we saw, is what we're gonna get. We're gonna get Cody and Biz at the 5 for whatever that's worth, and then I really think the second unit is gonna be special. That's where the Hornets are gonna win games. By the way,
I agree.
Last night, LaMelo Ball. None of the Hornets were plus in the plus-minus category, I think. But LaMelo Ball was only -1. Cole Anthony was -15. that ought to let you know how those rotations work. Ball's able to find Monk and Bridges all day. Those guys can clearly score. That's where the Hornets that's where we're missing out last season. When our starters came off the court, that was it. We could not score. I don't think.
Let me make one more point with PJ real quick. I gotta get this off my chest, man. Here's one thing I do notice about PJ and also LaMelo Ball at the same time. As much as they have struggled this preseason, you know, when young guys tend to struggle in NBA, you notice like a lot of times they sulk. You know, the effort kind of goes away when they're not hitting shots. You know what I mean? I don't see that with PJ and LaMelo, and that is a very encouraging sign. It may be discouraging that they're not hitting shots at the rate that we want them to, but the encouraging sign is it doesn't seem to affect their effort, and that's a really big deal when it comes to young players. And I'm sure that's a big reason why Borrego trusts them and leaves them on the floor even when they're struggling.
So guys, I have a question. So JB has been primarily using a 10-man rotation. He has to figure some things out, who he wants to play and who plays the best together. Typically, an NBA team goes to an 8-man rotation, eight or 9-man rotation. Who is the odd guy out to you?
Cody Martin.
Yeah, I'd say so.
The best perimeter defender?
Caleb Martin is just as good, and he's a little better offensively. That puts Cody Martin on the out. The only thing I don't like about Caleb Martin offensively is that he tends to handle the ball a little too much to try and create his own shot.
And it doesn't work out too well most of the time.
I would prefer him to be more auxiliary when you have Monk and Bridges in the second unit. But yeah, that's a tough one. A lot of NBA teams run 8-man rotations typically because they have players who can take the bulk of those minutes. The NBA teams do not have a lot of depth anymore because of the way the league is structured. You got these super teams that stack up and are very top heavy. You've got teams like the Lakers that have 5 or 6 really, really, really good players. So you want them to get all the minutes, and the rest of that bench is not that deep. So why would you play them anyway? The Hornets, though, have a lot more depth than they've had. So running 9 guys and sometimes 10 might not be such a bad idea, especially at the 5 where tends to be our weakest position. But if you I said, hey, who's the odd man out? I'm going to say Cody Martin, and that's just because of circumstance.
Yeah, I'll probably say Cody Martin, but I will throw you a curveball. We know James Borrego does not mind switching lineups up and switching, and he does that depending on the matchup. Now, I'll throw you a curveball. The odd man out actually may be Bismack Biyombo, and I'll tell you why. Depending on matchup, that is important to kind of note here. Depending on matchup, if JB does decide to go small ball lineup, when it comes to the bench, you actually may see Jalen McDaniels slide to the 5 sometimes. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's going to open up a spot at the 3 for Cody Martin or Caleb Martin to kind of come in as the 3. But again, this all depends on matchup. Now, I'll say Cody and Caleb Martin because JB, it looks like he really wants to get the best out of Malik Monk this season. He's not going to give up on Monk this season until he absolutely has to. And I'm just kind of saying that, judging, how he's been talking about Monk in the offseason. He's working very hard to get him back in the basketball shape and have him ready. Yeah.
Last night and even the night before, where he had to shake off some rust, but he looked in better position to score. I think that might be the LaMelo Ball effect. It just seems like when LaMelo's on the court, everybody's
better.
Everyone's in the right
better.
Like like
being someone that could catch balls at that point.
Yeah, except
kinda.
He has to be more aware. There were times where I would see passes come his way and he not looking. It's like, dude, what are you doing, man? It's like they trying to help you out, man. So
and look, to be fair, Bismack Campbell who passed, maybe he wasn't expecting to pass.
Gotcha. Guys, we're going to wrap up this Hornets thing. Jamal, you're in and out. We're going to wrap up this Hornets thing. Give me record predictions and seed in the playoffs. Seed in the East.
So what? It's a 72
games. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Hornets win 36.
So 36.
And that will put us at the play-in game. I think. Okay. Yeah, we're either 8th or the play-in game.
Jamal?
All right, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to say we win 33 games, and I think we fight in the play-in game as well.
I'm going to say 33 and 33 wins and 10th seed in the play-in game. Play that 7th seed and dogfight it out, man. I'm just excited for this season. Jamal, you got some voicemails for us, man?
I believe I have a voicemail. Now y'all know I mess this up every week, man. So let me try to see if I can get this right. Hold on.
All right, Teddy.
Hey, what's up, UC crew?
To my geeky brother, Rodney, what's going on? Hey, this is Chris G, the OG, man. Just want to hit y'all up. A couple things. Panthers last night, same story. Another close loss. Another game of missed opportunities. Another game of Teddy Bridgewater errors. That's a dead horse. I'm not going to beat that. Good positives. The defense showed up in the second half. Looks good. You can kind of see what they're trying to build for. The other positive, probably the biggest positive, right now they're sitting with a top 5 pick. They could possibly get a top 4. They could be at 4 by the end of the weekend if Dallas wins. But anyway, if you have a top 4 or 5 pick in this draft, you have to address the quarterback position. This is a good draft for quarterbacks, and if you're picking at 4 or 5, you need to be addressing that. If you're not going to do that, Panthers, trade your pick. Get more picks. Do something with it. Don't sit there and pick another player at 4 or 5, because I think everybody's going to be looking for quarterbacks in this draft, and that pick will be valuable. The other thing I'll say about the coaching, there's a lot being talked about with Teddy Bridgewater's fumble at the goal line. What I'll say about that play on 1st and goal, I do not know why your big back was not in there and why you did not hand the ball off to Mike and let him get that touchdown for you. At least let him get the first crack at it. You had your smaller back in there, I'm forgetting his name right now. If you go back and look at that play, Mike Davis wasn't even in the game. And so I don't get the play call. So I know he put a lot of blame on Teddy for that one, but again, the play call sucked, in my opinion. Hornets, they start the season off this coming week. I think the key for them is going to be their rotations. They got a lot of players, 10 to 12 deep, that could probably play or probably should be playing. The key is going to be, can JB settle in on the proper rotation? It's going to get the best out of this team during the season. That's going to be a tough thing to do, okay? Hopefully, Corey Hayward will be ready to play, ready to go. And LaMelo Ball, I will say this about him. He is truly exciting, must-see TV. When he's in the game, I'm paying attention. I didn't necessarily want them to pick him. Since they did, I'm glad they picked him. Like I said, he's must-see TV, very exciting. A lot of people are saying he's going to be the rookie of the year. I totally disagree with that. I don't think that's going to happen. If you look at it, and if you're being honest with yourself, he at no point in those 4 games was the best point guard there. And I will go a step further.
All right, so the voicemail cut Chris off, but I'm interested in hearing about this. Wasn't the best point guard at any point. That third game says otherwise, Chris. But you can leave us another one, man, and expound on that. But thank you for the voicemail, brother. We do appreciate it.
All right, we're gonna roll into shout outs now. Who wants to go first?
I'll take this one, man. I have a shout at. My shout at is Bleacher Report once again. This is becoming a dead horse. But every single week, Bleacher Report, I think their executives, they sit down at a table and they say, you know what? How can we make Michael Jordan look bad this week? What can we do? What can we say to disgrace the Charlotte Hornets? So let me tell you the slick stuff Bleacher Report did this time. So there was this GM survey. And the survey, one of the categories is the worst owner in the NBA. More not get mention of the worst owner in the NBA by the GMs. James Dolan did. But when the headline came out as Michael Jordan received votes as the worst owner in the NBA. Not got the thing, not was voted as the worst owner, but received votes. And his picture is all on the headline. You get what I'm saying? Guys, it is I don't what do clickbait. You say?
It's clickbait. It's clickbait.
Dude, listen, man. Listen. Every public look, we are in the media business right now. We know what it means to try to get clicks and get likes and get shares. I get it. We are in that business. But have some damn integrity, please, man. That's all I got.
I'm going to shout out us because we're not analysts, we're not pundits, we're just fans.
We're not journalists.
Yeah, we're fans. We have a podcast. We might write an article or two, but we know our sports. And time again, there was a video. Those of you that follow us on Facebook, Jamal posted where we talk about the Hornets point guard situation last year, and we perfectly called that. Last year we called the Kyle Allen situation. We called the Teddy Bridgewater situation. We does this. I wish you guys could see our texts in our group chat. Every time I see a group chat pop up, I know it's something from one of our sources or an article that we found or something, some research that we did or something like that. All I'm saying is that we put in a lot of work and effort to, like, our hot takes are really not all that hot. We think about them and it's
thought out.
Right. We try and ground our opinions in
facts.
Yeah. So
research. Yeah.
So we do a lot of that. It takes a lot of effort to bring, because we're gonna want to bring you guys good content, and we want you guys to remember, man, Under Construction said this was gonna happen. It makes us feel really good when that does happen. Unfortunately, a lot of times it's negative, and I don't want to be I don't want to spend every season talking about why the Panthers quarterback situation is going to suck.
You mean you don't want to be Bleacher Report, basically?
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't want to be Bleacher Report. So hopefully, like this upcoming Hornet season and the next Panther season, we can be right about some positive things.
But, no doubt.
Shout out.
All right, I bear with me. I got a few. Shout out to Vince for his short story videos, man.
No doubt, man.
Like, share, and subscribe to his YouTube page, man. He's pretty dope. Shout out to the almighty Clemson Tires.
Oh,
damn it.
Here we go.
Damn it, we did it again.
Oh,
6 straight years in the college football playoffs.
Kaza, wake me up when this is over, man.
Yeah, I'm not checking my Facebook.
ACC championship. ACC stands for another Clemson championship.
Oh, boy.
Shout out to Clemson, obviously. And then I want to give a shout out to our raffle winners, Ethan Wagner and Joseph Wilson.
No doubt, man.
Shoot me those pictures, man, once you open the package. And, hey, man, congrats and enjoy. And then finally, Merry Christmas, y'all.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
My last show before Christmas. Merry Christmas, man. Look, I'm not particularly in the holiday spirit, man, but look, 2020, we're alive to see Christmas, man. That's a blessing in itself.
I want the Hornets to get in the playoffs. That is what I want my Christmas present to be.
What? Are you crazy? So we
Tank.
Yeah, we just gonna be an AP so we can lose to James Harden, Giannis, Antetokounmpo.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
We're gonna swim in mediocrity for another year. Come on, man. Damn that 20 plus million in cap space next year.
Right. Let's trust the process. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. Again, Merry Christmas. On behalf of the guys, like, share, support, subscribe, and much love.
Much love. I'll take care.
Peace out, y'all. Peace out.